And we're back with match number 2. We got Super Sentai Z versus the CTO himself, Mamox45. And sending them over the all clear here, we can get going.
Mamox45 really feeling the pressure of this match. He knows that this is the match that really decides how both of their odds fare. Whoever wins this match has a pretty clear road to top 4, and whoever doesn't, well, they lost to the other one.
Yeah, and looking at here, this is really interesting because I love some of these Pokemon choices. On Mamox45's side, you can see he's gone with Pokemon like Pinsir and Swellow. And then on the side of Super Sentai, you've got Pokemon like Snorlax and Heracross. So we've got a normal bug matchup there across the way. And got some Steel Boys with Jirachi and Fortress. I like this battle here. This is looking fun.
Yeah, solid lineup that Swellow. Have not seen Mamox45 bring it yet. I know he was cooking on several builds. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
I'm interested to see the Swellow as an Exploud lover myself. However, I'm more interested in seeing what the Snorlax is going to do. Is it going to be more of a setup Snorlax? Is he going to be sleep talking? Let's see what the Snorlax is all about.
And notably looking at Reckless's team, the Altaria not there. Going with the Snorlax Fortress Chansey core for its defenses.
All right, so immediately off the bat, you got a heat wave coming out of the Swellow from the CTO and a great move on the Steel Bug Pokemon. The Fortress was able to get the rocks out there, but at the cost of 99% HP, and Reckless immediately swapping to the Snorlax, which took that special move very well as the Snorlax is wearing an assault vest.
Yeah, that and potentially the thick fat also helping.
Yeah, absolutely. The Snorlax able to land an Ice Punch on this Alakazam. Huge damage there. And that is an incredible start because this Snorlax is made to tank special attacks, which is what this Alakazam brings.
Yeah, doubling up on the special defensive with the Snorlax with an assault vest and the Chansey, a bold move.
And there, the Snorlax with the stab return. Huge attack there from Reckless. And Mamox, the CTO, already losing one of his core sweepers in Alakazam. And there are rocks on the other side of the board, which are very dangerous when you're running Dragonite.
Yeah, he's got to figure out this Snorlax, and Swampert seems like a much better matchup, bringing some physical prowess.
Yeah, I got to agree here. And the Pinsir would have been the best immediate swap. But again, those rocks hurt. And Snorlax hits very hard there with the stab return.
Knowing that the Ice Punch is also there, that is a scary factor.
And the leftovers procking there, bringing up the Swampert to 59. And I think you could see, oh, and Mamox45 going with the curse here. The return is going to hit a little bit less, but I think you wanted to go ahead and get that kill on the Snorlax. You were faster than him. You could have just killed him there.
Yeah, we'll see with the 41% now with leftovers ticks if he can survive anything else to cash in on those boosts.
Well, Mammox needs to be onto the fact that this Medicham has an ice move and ice punch. You gotta know as a Swampert user, but at the same time, the water will neutralize it a bit. If the Swampert, well, Medicham coming in immediately would be able to fake out. So swapping over to the Jirachi there, this is gonna hurt though. Oh, and the Jirachi with a little bit of physical defense there, looking good with the Steel Pokemon and the normal move, even with the pure power from the Medicham.
Yeah, utilizing that Rocky Helm to counteract the fake out chip. Solid play. We'll see how Reckless can threaten him out now, potentially with some fighting attacks neutralized by the psychic typing, but still stab with that huge power. Metacham can easily bust up this team.
So very clever move here by Mamox45. He chose to go with more of a cleric Jirachi, and this is an interesting move. It still has some of that core base of Iron Head Thunderwave for a little bit of flinch hacks, but looking over, it also has Wish Protect. Mamox is really dependent on that when he uses the Umbreon, so it seems like he wanted to keep that intact, and he decided to make this Jirachi a lot tankier than an all-out offensive Jirachi.
I like it. It'll allow it to spread those thunder waves a little more easily.
Yeah, and Mamox45 with the high HP here of Jirachi, the Medicham, the fighting moves will be neutral effectiveness with the psychic ability to neutralize out the fighting attack. However, high jump kick still hits very hard. With the Rocky Helm on the Jirachi, Reckless is probably just afraid of losing some of the HP. And hold the phone. We need to stop this battle. Reckless is going to have to forfeit this first game one. He has brought an illegal Pokemon to the battle. I'll have to message him.
Yeah, we'll let the players continue to play it out, and we'll bring it up before their game 2. The Parahacks
Why
immediately
does he
come
have
through.
2 megas?
No, he brought Chansey instead of Blissey.
He steal your Pokemon.
I didn't even realize that.
So Reckless, unfortunately, is going to lose this game one, but I'm interested to see how it plays out here because Gengar just nearly taking down that Jirachi. The paralysis landing on Gengar is huge, though. And there's the Iron Head, and if it flinches, oh, the paralysis hits there. So even without the flinch, doesn't matter. He goes to the Chansey, and when will he realize that he brought the wrong Pokemon? Pretty funny here, bringing the wrong pink blob.
Jirachi going for the wish against the Chansey. Ballsy move at 1%, but paying off with the heal bell going.
Yeah, and this Chansey, unlike the Chansey, well, this Chansey does have Body Slam. So the Body Slam there could have secured the kill there. And there he pulls out the Chansey and goes to the Heracross. The Thunder Wave landing on the Heracross, maybe predicting a swap there.
Another bold move, though, going for the Thunder Wave instead of the Protect. The predictable Protect.
Yeah, very risky there by Mamox45, and he's getting some great RNG though here, and he might be able to just finish it off if he gets and he does get the paralysis there, and the Heracross won't be able to even move at all.
Get out of the way, Dominican Luigi. There's a new boss in town, and his name was Persian Mario, now dead by Gengar's hands.
And here comes the Swellow with Scrappy. So the Boom Burst able to take down Gengar. Scrappy able to make a normal move, hit Ghost Pokemon. And here comes the Medicham. The Fake Out will be able to land here, but Swellow is quite fast. And the Boom Burst taking down that Medicham as well. Here is the illegal Pokemon that Reckless will send out in the Chansey. It will be able to take Boom Burst pretty well, but again, we'll see what happens here if he even tries and he presses Body Slam. It does get the paralysis hacks there on the Body Slam, and Mamox decides to go pull for the Dragonite. The Body Slam is doing very little here, and the Dragonite will pretty easily be able to kill this Chansey. So we're going to need to get a team update here from Reckless to get that Chansey updated to the Blissey. Let me send him a update your team with the Blissey, please.
Possibly the only way I see this mistake being made with the difference between Blissey and Chansey. We'll see if the teams are updating, if they're taking a moment to do it.
So that room is empty here. Let's see. We're gonna have to go ahead and just hold on. Don't start. Um, we need to pause here. I guess Reckless is not checking the Discord.
Try messaging them with
He's now typing. I see Reckless
excellent
is
Brent.
typing.
Communication has been made.
Okay. Reckless, he's about to unmute. Reckless, just go ahead and forfeit this game and
Yeah, I'm here.
update to Blissey. You were gonna lose game one even if you won because you brought the illegal Pokemon. But Mamox won anyways.
Oh.
So go ahead and update to Blissey and then just get the next game, game two going.
Let's see. Got it.
What happened?
We just had an illegal
Yeah, I put-
Pokemon there, and
Put Chansey down, and I have Blissey.
he was fighting you with Chansey, Mamox.
He never. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, we didn't either at all.
Big pink blob.
It didn't. We don't know if it mattered, but
It definitely did. Because Chansey is not as good. Well, who knows if it mattered on the whole, but the Blissey
Did
is
he
better.
build his Chansey as a Blissey, or did he put
He
a
did.
light on the Chansey? Is the question.
No, I had it full built as it's a copy paste on the build, just wrong one name.
Yeah. But it's all fine.
Understandable.
It's all
Totally
fine.
understandable, honestly. You were switching platforms, correct? And had to rebuild your team.
Yeah, it didn't save from the previous build. That was one of the Pokemon.
Gotcha.
Okay, valid. We're good.
All right, cool.
I have to send it to you. The only change is the word.
Are we just?
No.
Let's get it on. Let's get it on.
No,
It
game
wouldn't have
two.
changed anything. It's basically the same build.
Game two. We going.
All right.
Okay, I'm muting.
Yep.
All right.
Alrighty. Slight detour, but we all got to the same place. Even with the Chansey instead of the Blissey.
I want no one to worry. Fines are being sent to Reckless. He will not be allowed to do such ludicrous acts.
Illegal.
Honorable tournament.
And we do see the right Pokemon here. And I will say that everyone is all good to go. After a slight delay, we're going to go ahead and get to game two. And if I'm Reckless, I think that I'd want to go with a slightly different strategy than just losing almost my entire fortress just like that.
Yeah, it's hard to get in the mindset of such an evil, cheating, nefarious man. Going with the Gengar right off the rip, though.
Yeah, it looks like Reckless is trying to get a little bit of momentum here, but the Pinsir is going to have a flying aspect to him, so we're going to see what Gengar can do.
I have to say, if I were Lord Frieza and such a nefarious Pokemon trainer, I would have also led with Gengar.
And Gengar puts a sub down, and he has Black Sludge, so he'll heal up a little bit. This Pinsir is Mega Evolved, and he is very strong. He's got a priority move in Quick Attack, which is converted to a flying ability, which is why it hit the Ghost.
Yeah, but what do you do from this position? Do you go for the U-turn and take the hit, break the sub, and threaten the Gengar elsewhere? Do you go for the Quick Attack just to keep the sub down?
Yeah, I think you just have to take out the sub because, yeah, your Mega Pokemon is strong enough to survive. And Pinsir, while Reckless has Fortress on the other side, which is a decent physical wall to fight a flying Pokemon.
And Gengar at 24%, just below the threshold to be able to substitute of 26. Potentially a lower roll on that initial Quick Attack would have given him possibly some stall antics against the pincer, although it would not necessarily progress the game forward.
Well, it would also not outrun another quick attack from the pincer, which would kill. So Reckless does swap to the Fortress, and predicting it, Mamox uses Sword Stance, and Fortress coming out here to try and put some Stealth Rocks out to prevent this from moving forward like this.
Yeah, very risky play going for that Sword Stance in front of the Gengar like that, but paying off. The Fortress is hitting back with the Rocky Helm.
Yeah, and 26% HP left on the pincer. It has a priority move, and he presses Sword Stance again. Very risky because Struggle Bug coming in here doing some virtually nothing as it was bug on bug, and I think that was just a misplay there by Reckless because, you know, you did almost nothing there, but the pincer survived and is going to get a free quick attack, and the Medicham, Reckless is going to try to race this pincer, but he is able to, and he forgets to Mega Evolve his Medicham there, which is a huge misplay there.
Yeah, the fake out with that higher priority just bumping above the quick attack, but Mamox unable to really do anything else about it with the rocks out there.
And Reckless forgetting to Mega Evolve turns out to be massive here because he doesn't have Fake Out anymore. However, the Swampert is not going to necessarily outspeed the Medicham. I could see an Ice Punch here coming, potentially even a high jump kick for the stab move, and that's probably your best bet. And he goes for the high jump kick, and it just one-shots the Swampert! Huge damage with the pure power! Whew!
Yeah, clicking the box, clicking the stab. Sometimes that's all you got to do. Alakazam coming out here. The Medicham cannot fake it out to outspeed.
And honestly, I would just keep pressing high jump kick. But it could just die immediately, though. And he chooses the Shadow Ball, which the Snorlax is immune to. Mamox has been known to press Shadow Ball instead of Psychic. And there we see that again, where the Psychic would have been neutral effectiveness against the Medicham, and the Pursuit hitting the Alakazam, huge damage, taking down the Focus Sash, and Dragonite coming in, popping the Multiscale on the Stealth Rocks. He wants to roost, but he presses Dragon Dance, and the Ice Punch killing the Dragonite. Reckless is making a huge comeback here with this Snorlax. Great predictions from Super Sentai.
And Mamox really having to remember that Snorlax is packing the Ice Punch, and that Pursuit really coming in. Alakazam barely holding on to 1% thanks to the Focus Sash. Great calls by Reckless building this Snorlax to directly counter that Alakazam.
And I think Reckless needs to realize that this Snorlax is not going to be a great matchup against the Jirachi. Get over to your Blissey and, And ooh, the Snorlax just continuing to press attacks here. You need to see that there's a Rocky helmet on that Jirachi. You also saw in the last game that Jirachi has Wish. Are you just letting the Snorlax die here? I guess so, because he wants to swap in the Gengar at the low HP. I guess that makes sense. So he's going to choose to try to go for that. But if Mamox is on top of that, he does have Swellow, who is immune to ghost moves.
Yeah, really going in for the Jirachi, letting his Snorlax die for the clean swap. The Gengar low on health. He's got to cash in now.
This is huge, though, because if Reckless presses the Shadow Ball and Mamox swaps to the Swellow, Mamox is going to be able to clap back with the Boom Burst.
But with the rocks out there, the Swellow call is risky on anything else.
And there is the Shadow Ball taking Jirachi down to 2%. And the Ironhead able to seal the deal. Here comes the Medicham to be able to fake out the Jirachi for the kill. But pretty crazy here. And there's the Protect to be able to do that. But again, I think that this Medicham is going to be a little bit faster than this Jirachi because Mamox doesn't have speed EV investment to outspeed the Metacham, who probably has full speed EV investment.
It's a good call, though. It was for sure with the fake out.
Yeah, that
This
protect was a
Persian
great
Mario.
decision. Was a great decision there by Mamox. And he decides to just swap to the Blissey. And just like expected, he chooses to swap instead of going for the kill. Mamox making the risky play, pressing Wish there instead. And really, you could call it risky, but now that I think about it, in the end, if Alakazam came in, then the Wish would have procced there and healed you up. And Reckless deciding to start putting screens, but he's putting Light Screen, which is not going to help you against Jirachi, and decides to go to the Heracross, and Jirachi is paralyzed, which is huge there. This Heracross is carrying a Flame Orb, so it's gutsed, and the Heracross goes for a knockoff there to get rid of the Rocky Helmet. Jirachi will Iron Head, which is a lot of damage there with the stab move. The burn slowly ticking down this Heracross, and if you're Reckless, like that, and the paralysis is used, and he goes for the Facade, which is the wrong selection there. Instead of the stab Mega Horn, you gotta know when to use the Mega Horn, people, and he chooses to use it again. Normal moves are not very effective against Steel, and Mamox45 has a choice here. He could try to and he tries it again, and it doesn't work, and the close combat taking it down. Heracross will die to the burn here, and it's Swellow Alakazam versus Blissey and Metacham going down to the wire in Game 2.
Yeah, this is a 1% Alakazam. We have to remember that, too. And going into a Blissey, the Blissey is at 46, but the Swellow did not hit into it very hard in these previous matchup.
Yeah, and the Blissey has soft-boiled, so I think we're going to see Reckless just hit soft-boiled as fast as possible.
And just lock the game down.
And Reckless hits soft-boiled, healing up. That is huge there. Now, the rocks won't affect Alakazam, but this Swellow is spec'd, so the Body Slam will slowly start to take it down. Reckless looks to be in control here. You just got to leave the Blissey out. And here comes the Alakazam. A Light Screen even sealing even the more special defense for Reckless's team. And this is huge here for the Blissey. You see that does nothing. It's super effective, but doesn't matter. The Body Slam taking down Alakazam. Here comes the Swellow, who's going to get hit hard from the rocks. And Blissey showing just how strong these pink blobs are.
Yeah, Mamox panicking a bit, going straight into the Swellow. I think he should have gone straight into the Alakazam. With it at 1%, a fake out from the Metacham just kills it.
Yeah, it's very tough here for Mamox because you lost all your physical sweepers before the Blissey even really came out. So you really got to make sure in Game 3 that doesn't happen. And you see how important Blissey was with the illegal play in Game 1. We're going on to Game 3 here, and this is really exciting. This is going to be a final Game 3 to decide the Week 5 match between Mamox and Sentai.
I'm just very curious how each of them are going to try and take that initial momentum with their leads. Both of them showing that they've been flexible in their selections of them.
I agree, and I think Mamox might go for broke here and try to do some sort of setup because that did work well for him in the previous game.
Either that or he just got to cash in on the Swellow earlier, and off the rip is a fine time, especially knowing they can match into the Fortress.
Yeah.
Scary thing being the Snorlax. The Snorlax is the counter to the Swellow that we've never seen before with the Ice Punch. And the Assault Vest.
You also have your Blissey to swap into the Swellow. I think Mamox bringing that Swellow, it had some really nice play in Game 1, killing that Gengar, but now that Reckless is on top of the fact that it's just a special Pokemon, he's very quick to swap to the Snorlax or the Blissey.
Which is where Mamox can hurt him and go for the U-turns into his physical Mon then. He needs to use it to bait out the special walls to remove
Huge decision here by Reckless to land this fake out and flinches, and you really have a chance to just immediately swap to one of your special defense Mon here. And he does. He chooses to go for the Gengar, which is crazy because if Mamox had pressed Boom Burst, that would have done huge damage.
Mamox going for the U-turn, expecting one of the special walls, bringing out the Jirachi to counter out the Gengar.
And Gengar pressing sub here is just incredible if you're Reckless, because the Jirachi could go for the Thunder Wave, but he doesn't. The Shadow Ball coming out, the Thunder Wave slowing the Gengar down. If he had pressed sub, it would have essentially made the Thunder Wave do nothing. And the huge flinch there, just a big misplay by Reckless. If you have the sub, you have to use it there. You got to know the status effect is coming from the Jirachi.
Yeah, securing that speed lead is massive. Mamox going with these risky, in my mind, wishes, and then Iron heading straight into a known Rocky Helm.
Mamox going for really aggressive play here, and you know, it is paying off in some of these situations, but you know, playing against a little bit more aggressive opponent, he needs to make sure he doesn't get used to just doing that all the time. And he swaps the Swellow into the rocks, which is going to deal a lot of damage. Reckless immediately swapping to the Snorlax, which will counter out this Swellow. And you got to just kind of swap if you're Mamox. And he chooses to get rid of the rocks, and the Ice Punch doing huge damage on the Swellow. Mamox is going to have to just swap again. And the Pursuit landing and killing it. We saw it in the last game. You can't swap out on the Snorlax.
No, locking himself into the defog, a very risky play there. He could have just gone for the U-turn and just survived with the rocks out.
And immediately swapping to the Fortress. He's trying to get a setup here. And Reckless coming out. Oh, God. This is going to be bad for Reckless because Fortress is a Pokemon with sturdy. It's not a levitator, even though it looks like it levitates.
And at the 93%, Struggle Bug critting, not for much.
And I don't understand the Struggle Bug plays here. I guess he's trying to get a clean swap, but the Swampert has more than just Earthquake. I don't know. I guess I'm not sure really what Reckless's plan here is. The Stab Earthquake doing 58-ish% there. Yeah, it's just going to be tough. I think Reckless has made a pretty huge mistake not making a move on the Swampert earlier.
And my prediction is that Struggle Bug's a little over-tuning for the Alakazam. But Gengar coming in with the Levitate, immune to the Earthquake.
And the Gengar is already paralyzed, so you really can't do much here. You could, I mean, you will be faster probably because the Swampert has been cursing. But I don't think you can one-shot this Swampert as the Gengar. And
Does Gengar get Energy Ball?
Gengar does get Energy Ball, so if you get the Energy Ball, and he chooses to swap back to the Fortress, maybe hoping to get a clean swap there to somebody else instead of the Gengar, but the curse being huge here might see an immediate fake out, and there's the fake out. Will we see Mamox try to predict the swap, press the Stab Waterfall instead of Earthquake? I think that's the move regardless, is Waterfall here.
Yeah, there's no need to play into the Gengar any further. The Waterfall hits it all hard with that 2.5 attack and Swampert's natural base attack. It's just massive. But he just has to be able to survive the chip as he is very slow with all of those curses.
And here's the Heracross. The Earthquake will do a decent amount of damage. And I think that Reckless was just too afraid to... Yeah, and the knockoff will get rid of the leftovers, which is nice, but you lose your Heracross, and you got to send the Gengar out here. And he goes for the Blissey, which is a little bit risky, but with the Blissey, he can get the Heal Bell off. And the problem is your Medicham might have to and the Blissey just dies. You got to send the Gengar out here to Energy Ball this thing down. There it is. It kills the Swampert, and that's the momentum back in Reckless's move. But Alakazam is faster, so yep, here comes the Alakazam, and this could seal out the Gengar here. So Snorlax getting swapped to, and he goes for the stab move. You see it does a lot more damage than anything a Shadow Ball would have done, because Snorlax is immune to that. So a good choice there to use Psychic. And here comes Alakazam getting pulled in pursuit again! You gotta know that Snorlax can do that! And Mamox has gotta be hitting himself because he's lost almost 2 full Pokemon this game to that.
Yeah, especially with that fake out being able to cleanly kill it. Potentially wanting to save the Alakazam and not just attack into the Snorlax. I think this Snorlax has an Assault Vest. We don't know if Mamox knows that yet, but even without it, even more so without it, it may have just been time to push the damage and just mash Psychic 2 more times. Put it at low health.
And I think we're going to see Reckless swap to the Medicham here, if I had to guess, because Mamox, I think, is on the back foot. There are rocks out in play, and he's got Dragonite and Pinsir on the other side of the battlefield. And Reckless needs to get a little bit of momentum back, and his big sweeper in Medicham, a high jump kick could really deal a lot of damage, but a Wish Protect, yeah, and there's the Wish. He presses Pursuit, but this Jirachi is a physical wall carrying a Rocky Helmet. There's the Iron Head getting the Pursuit again. The Wish will heal up the Jirachi. I think this is it. Reckless is in big trouble here.
Yeah, he's shown that he's willing to let this Snorlax die to the Jirachi. Almost afraid of the paralysis on his other Mon, which is understandable, but at the same time, you got to make the plays, especially when Mamox is known to take those risky wishes.
And there's the Iron Head killing the Gengar because the Shadow Ball not enough there. And Medicham popping in to do a fake out, but that won't work because the Protect there. Reckless will probably be able to kill the Jirachi here, but you're not faster than Alakazam, and you're going to take a hit from the Rocky Helmet here.
As well as Dragonite and Pinsir both being known priority users, if not naturally faster.
Yeah, and here comes Reckless. He's not going to be able to outspeed this Alakazam. Shadow Ball being super effective, being able to take down the Medicham, and that will do it. Mamox45 able to take down Super Sentai, and a great 3-game match.
Oh, good game, man.
GG,